All right, we are live. Hello, everybody. We've got Totoro.
Hi.
We have Totoro, and we have like Daft Punk Kitty, and then Grandmaster. Hi, and we will have a Amber Brite here soon. So we're just going to introduce ourselves, and then we will go ahead and start getting ready or get talking about adhesives, all kinds of adhesives. So why don't we start with? I'm literally calling you Daft Punk Kitty. That's your thing today. Why don't we start with your introduction?
But they broke up. No.
I know. It's very sad.
I know. Anyway, I'm Lena, aka Thermo Sidekick, because I am Sam's. Oh, there we go. Sam's sidekick. I've been doing cosplay for, I don't know, what, 5 years now, Sam? 6?
It's 2021, so we've been doing it since 2014. So
7 years.
7.
Ooh.
I know it does not feel like it.
But I don't practice a lot, so I don't have 7 years worth of skills. But I'm lazy, and I'm really good at telling people shortcuts, so that's me.
That works. Hey, it took you 7 years to learn all these awesome shortcuts.
It's true. It's true.
There you go. All right, Jinx.
Hi guys, I'm Jessica from Jinx Cosplay. I've been cosplaying for 20 years now. July is my 20th anniversary, and Lena's like, I don't have 7 years of experience. I neither have 20 years of experience because I took a few years break and then I wasn't very serious. So don't worry. It doesn't, I mean, everyone's like, oh my God, you've been doing it for so long. I'm like, yeah, but I've only really learned all the main stuff like the last 6 years. So, but whatever. So I do a lot of video game cosplay, and I'm still taking ideas on what to do for my 20th anniversary in July.
It will happen. It will happen.
And then I'm so lazy today, so I'm Totoro. I'm sorry, guys. I don't even have any makeup on, but coffee.
It's okay. And Amber Brite just notified me and said that she'll be on in about 5 to 10 minutes. So we'll see Amber Brite soon. I am Sam of ThermoCosplay, and as Thermo Sidekick has said, 7 years. I probably do have 7 years of experience because at this point, I finally counted how many costumes I've made for myself and others, or helped with, or
Sam does everything.
And I'm at 62 now.
Yeah. So I have 45 in 20 years. So.
Well, I make stuff for other people too.
I know that's what I mean. That's why in 7 years you have way more.
But yes, hello, Raul, and hello, Todd. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi,
as we talk about all kinds of adhesives, so we'll be talking about adhesives that work for prop making and adhesives that work for the body. We figured if we're going to talk about them, we'll talk about all of them. And we were actually going to ask all of you, what would you like to learn about first? Would you rather learn about the adhesives that are skin safe that you can use on the body first? Or would you rather learn about the adhesives that you can use on props? So please comment and let us know what adhesives you'd like to learn about first. I just realized I didn't put this on, but then I also remembered why the last time we streamed, I was wearing Grandmaster and I wore this. It got stuck somehow on my mouse, and I was here secretly fighting with my mouse in this, and I was like, oh, that's why I left that off. So
yeah. You're it's right next to you, so just in case.
Yeah, it's funny. So funny story. I used adhesive on this. I actually super glued this because this is made for a man, this costume, because I wanted one that was longer and would fit my height. So I'm a really tall girl. I'm almost 5'10". I'm 5'9.5". And so a lot of the costumes made for women are a little short, and I was concerned about Grandmaster, and his robe's supposed to be on the ground and dragging, and so I bought this, and I mean, I don't know if they thought that a dude wearing a medium guy's clothing was going to be super ripped or something, but this thing is huge.
And it's an armband.
It's all the way around. When I measured it, it was 20 inches around us. It was ridiculous.
Oh my God.
It got on a bicep. It made no sense. So I had to cut some of it away, and then I had to take a bunch of this and just pull it all over. And at first I pinned it, and then I realized that super glue works really well on vinyl. And so I just super glued it, and now I don't have a problem.
Yeah, gluing vinyl is definitely one we're going to have to cover.
Well, and the great thing is all the excess material in here actually keeps it from sliding off. So
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So hey, super glue to the rescue.
I love super glue. I do.
Right, super glue is the duct tape of the adhesive world.
Yes. I do admit that I love me some super glue.
Some super glue. Yeah. So we'll give everyone a minute to settle. But as we've mentioned, we are talking about adhesives. There are lots of different types of adhesives. There are ones that you can use on fabric, ones that you can use on skin, ones you can use on foam, plastic, metal. It's all over the place. So we will be discussing as much of it as we can get through today. Adhesives are a massive subject. I've seen convention panels go like 2 hours long just because someone brought up an adhesive and it's derailed the whole conversation and they just start talking about adhesives.
Oh wow.
So I'm gonna be the question person as the novice one until we have questions in the comments, and then you guys totally take over. But so Sam, you mentioned super glue. We've all gotten super glue on our fingers accidentally. How do you get super glue off your fingers, or what's your recommendation other than like don't get it on your fingers in the first place, obviously?
Oh, it's wonderful that you asked that. Any sort of lotion with coconut oil or just coconut oil or really any skin safe essential oil, just start putting on there and rubbing in between, or using a Q-tip and start rubbing in between. The oil gets underneath your skin and saturates the skin cells and pushes the super glue off.
So I just sit there and wait until it's gone, like days later.
So word of advice, if you leave super glue on your skin, you can develop an allergy to it. So please don't do that. And the allergy to it will cause rashes and hives that could send you to the hospital. So
I'm pretty good about not getting on my skin, but
get essential oils or lotion, and just basically the whole point of it is you want to oversaturate the skin with some kind of oil. And that basically helps you lift it up. You'll just keep rubbing it in until eventually you can use soap to wash it off.
Cool.
And that is true of multiple glues, not just super glue. If you touch it too much, you can contact cement. I hear about a lot.
Yeah, and it's just, your skin can't be dry, because if it's dry, it's just going to stick to it more. So the more oiled and like literally baby oil too would work.
Yeah. Definitely. So Ashley says, good afternoon, everyone. Victoria, afternoon, everyone. Hello, guys. Ashley's got a question. Going to be working with foam to try to make armor for the first time. Can you recommend the best adhesive for that?
Contact cement. I'm going to pull up the picture I have of this, but I would recommend contact cement. Now, I know super glue works too. It's just super glue, when you're thinking about it, foam is very flexible, right? And super glue is what? Inflexible. The whole point of super glue is to make a sure bond. And most super glues, there are a couple that are flexible, but they're very expensive. But the typical super glue you're going to get at like a hardware store is very inflexible. So you'll want to use something called contact cement. So I'm going to pull this up real fast.
I put my contact cement in a little, well, this one's actually kind of dry now. So don't only put as much as you need at a time. But I use these little bottles for like really accurate application, because for the longest time I was making so much mess using like sticks and like Q-tips and whatever. And then of course I saw Kamui Cosplay have the most accurate like glue lines, so I actually went on a search to find the perfect bottle applicator. Although like I said, like the glue, it's not seal proof. The glue isn't dry in there yet, but it is kind of.
Oh my gosh, I have so many adhesives. I'm grabbing them all.
Now, speaking of contact cement, again, from the novice here, or the more novice of the group, the biggest thing that messed me up when I was first using contact cement was that, I was thinking like regular glue, you just put it on and then you put the two pieces together and there you go, you're done. And that's totally not what you want to do with contact cement. You actually want to, if you can, with anything you're going to glue, try to rough up the surface just a little bit so that the glue can kind of get in there, like make either like very little nicks or, use a little sandpaper or something to make that. And then with the contact cement, you want to put it on and then let it dry, like let it sit there for longer than you would expect until it's tacky. Basically, if you put both of the pieces together and it pulls apart like cheese, that's about when you want it to go, like until it's almost completely dry, and then stick it together. If you put it together while it's still wet, it does not hold nearly, like it hardly holds at all. It's the weirdest thing. So
yeah, so definitely it says like 15 minutes, but just put it aside as long as it's not more than 2 hours. Just put it aside, work on something else, and then go back to it. So that's and it'll stay.
Coat it, wait. then put it together, like, and make sure it's real tacky before you put it together, and then let it sit
And
even longer.
they sell some contact cement, like they sell, this is Ducko cement, so it does take a little bit longer to set, but this is like a really crazy strong bond. Then there's the Wellwood DAP, or there's Barge contact cement that you can use. And this actually has like a brush on applicator. So I like this one. And then what I do is I use these and make sure that no air is left in to the best of my ability. And I try to keep these bottles as full as possible. So I buy like the really big, I showed you guys earlier, but I'll just show again.
Can.
We buy the big cans. Yeah. I buy the really big cans of contact cement.
Yeah.
And then I refill these little bottles to the absolute top to try and keep as little air in here as possible.
That's a good idea.
Silicone applicator super saturated so that it doesn't dry out.
Yeah.
And then every time you're done using this, you'll want to make sure that on the edges that you peel off any excess so that you don't accidentally glue your lid to your
Yeah, that's bad.
glass. Now, it doesn't really stick to glass very well, but sometimes it will just get really difficult to pry apart. But you can buy contact cement in either these little tiny distributors like this, or you can buy it in the glass. And I prefer the glass because it's more durable. It doesn't really smell over time. That's the one problem with these bottles that you can get at craft stores is one, you want to make sure that it's a non-wax base. You want to make sure that it's graded for adhesives, and they'll actually tell you if it's made for like crafting adhesives. And you usually find these in the baking aisle or in like the deco art area, wherever.
I got these at Michael's, I think.
Yeah,
but you also find it on Amazon.
Deco art, you're gonna find like little vials or vials about this size where you can apply it. And you'll want to. This one's hardened because I forgot about it for a year.
Yeah, this one started to hard as well, but that's why I get smaller ones because I don't do nearly as much foam work as Dan does.
Once it's hardened, it's actually pretty easy to like. If I took the lid off and I took the little not Q-tip, but I took the end of like a paintbrush and I scooped it out, you can pull it out like a gross like piece of wobbly Play-Doh or putty.
I'm sorry. I have to sidetrack us with a story my second grade teacher told me once, but and it was with rubber cement, not contact cement. But you remember the rubber cement that we had when we were in school? And he used to tell us that they'd refill the bottles by going to the zoo and waiting until the elephant sneezed.
Oh my god!
So thank you, Mr. Hunter, wherever you are, for that visual.
That's amazing. But yeah, so just keep it super full to the best of your ability. This one's halfway full, and so I'm actually about to refill it because I've been using it regularly. And so keep it as full as you can. And those big cans are only like $12.
Yeah,
it's weird. These are more expensive. These are $6.99, and then you get big cans for like $12. So you just keep refilling it. So get like a little funnel, or if you're really sure of yourself, you can pour it in, but be very careful.
So if you do get the big can, it's really important that you open and close it properly.
Clean it, and
and if you go to the paint aisle, you can get those little like things that look like curved screwdrivers, so that you can open the lid without damaging it, and then of course get a hammer and then.
It's the same thing when you're like fixing a bike tire. It's just that little plastic piece that pops open.
Yeah, so that's important because it will eventually over time dry. What I do when I fill stuff up is I'll just get like a popsicle stick, scrape it in. So yeah, I'm not very sophisticated with glue.
It's okay, and I'm gonna try and pull up an adhesive. But if anybody else has more questions about how to use contact cement, the easiest thing to think about is put it on a thin line on your foam, and then step away for 30 seconds and come back. If it's not shiny on both sides, you can apply it. Now, also know once it's applied, good luck getting it separated. So you want to have registration marks, which are little lines to make sure everything lines up perfectly. Otherwise, you might accidentally have something off a little bit, and you can fix it with foam. You can like cut and fix, but that might mess up like the curve or shape of whatever it is you're trying to make. So
now also
lines are important.
With contact cement, if your materials are porous, you can use it. You'll just need to apply more layers so that it fills in those pores. So it does work on fabric. It can work on fabric. It just depends, It's definitely not going to work on vinyl. It's too slippery. Vinyl is way too slippery.
But it can work on vinyl. I can actually show you. It can work on vinyl if you sand it. So I've used leather and vinyl, and I've sanded the leather and vinyl, and then I put the contact cement together. And I did that for my Kratos I can share just a quick picture real fast. I did it for Kratos because I was having a problem with the edging on my armor staying down. I'd hand stitched it, but it was
Mm.
really, really, really thick leather. And so this armor right here, I did actually, in fact, along the edges. Let me see if I can find the picture of this character. Here we go. So like along the edges of this armor, you can see it's really fine and it looks super crisp. It was not that way until I applied a little bit of contact cement after sanding it.
Okay.
Before it was very messy. But yeah, you can apply a contact cement to just about anything. I think the only stuff it doesn't really work on is glass and some forms
Metal?
of plastic. Metal. If you're gluing foam to metal, it works.
Okay.
But metal to metal, no. There's very few. I think what is it? JB Weld glue? Like, is it? I think it's JB Weld or some kind of epoxy is really the only way to glue metal to metal. And that's actually a great place for us to segue into and talk about the This to That website. So let me pull that up.
Yes, that's such a lifesaver, that This to That.
If no one's heard of this, now you know.
That.
So this is the This to That website. And you literally, it's thistothat.com, and you say you want to attach. Let's see here. We talked about metal to metal. So how do you glue metal to metal? Let's glue. And yeah, JB Weld is one of them. So these are the 3 epoxies that they recommend if you're trying to glue. You will have to clamp. There is no way to just contact metal and have it set in 15 minutes. It usually takes 48 hours for metal to adhere because you're basically having to allow it to heat up, melt the metal, and create a sure bond. Glass is also another thing that people are like, when they use little pieces of glass on, like, say you're doing glass to like a vinyl or a fabric or something, you want like little shimmery pieces. It's very limited. You can use hot glue, but it needs to be in an environment that's not going to get hot. Like Arizona, our heat is too much. The glass will just melt. It'll basically
melt off the glass.
It'll magnify the heat and make it melt off. So you would need to use Weld Bond or something a little bit stronger. Anytime you're using an adhesive that is very strong, please follow the instructions on the back. For instance, this Duco cement has very clear instructions on the back on, like, you need to wear gloves and you need to wear a mask and you need to be in a ventilated space. So pay attention to that. Same thing with contact cement. It's best to wear gloves. Oddly enough, contact cement allergies are more prevalent than even super glue allergies. And I know people who have gone to the hospital because of contact cement allergies. So that's something you will definitely want to wear gloves, or have something that like maybe get some neoprene gloves where it would just easily rub off, because neoprene and contact cement for some reason don't really get along. So it's easy for you to just rub it right off the material. So I use
again, well-ventilated area.
Yeah, well-ventilated area. I use mechanics gloves because mechanics gloves are heat resistant, right? So they have that neoprene coating on the bottom. So very few glues stick to it. And then if they do, it's just easy to kind of scrape it off. So that's a good way. But you should wear a mask that's rated for chemicals too. So you don't have to have a respirator, but there are masks sold at like hardware stores that have those little tiny ventilators on them, and it will tell you if it's particulates or chemicals, and you'll want the chemical one for adhesives.
Yeah. Cool. So Rose says, all my gluing is used for my foam projects. I made Pokeballs out of styrofoam and I made goggles out of foam. I just use normal hot glue gun for both. They hold up well for me. Yeah, I mean, it depends also, like if it's a high temp, low temp, hot glue can make a difference as well. Styrofoam is a tricky one because a lot of glues can melt it. So that's also something a lot of people get confused on too. Is
and so this is styrofoam. It tells you Weld Bond is the least toxic, most highly recommended. You can use hot glue. I will let you know, when you use hot glue on styrofoam, you are creating something called off-gassing. And styrofoam's off-gassing isn't quite as detrimental or dangerous as certain foams, but it can make you and your animals sick. So please, if you're going to use hot glue on styrofoam, do it in a space where there's plenty of air and it's feeding outside, and make sure you have no animals or small children in the same room with you. Off-gassing is something that a lot of crafters don't think about. When you're using foams or anything that has to melt or heat to create adhesion, you're off-gassing. And
because remember, it's all chemistry. It's all chemicals here. So
yeah. So anytime you're using an adhesive, unless it's like wood glue or
Elmer's glue.
Like Elmer's glue, which are non-toxic, unless it literally says on the back non-toxic, you need to be wearing a mask and gloves.
Mm-hmm.
So it needs to say somewhere on that saying non-toxic. If it does not say non-toxic, like hot glue actually does not say non-toxic. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but most hot glues do not say non-toxic. You need to wear something to protect yourself. For hot glues too, if you want a really good bond, I recommend the Gorilla Glue hot glue.
Oh yeah,
one
I
of the
don't go
only
back
ones that works
from
in
that.
Arizona, which means it'll probably work just about anywhere else.
Yeah, Stan told me about that. I was like, never again. I'm never using any other glue ever again. It's always going to be Gorilla
and it
Glue.
sets so much faster because the thing with hot glue is like, you know, when it sets, sometimes it like slips, and then you're like, man, like I wanted it up here in this position. No, it doesn't spread very far, and it just sets right where you put it. It's like, this is where I live.
And you know what I have to say? I have to say that I remember, I think our first guest, Soul Cos, had talked about like she's like an expert in hot glue, and I was kind of like, you know, my eyes were open to like, I actually need a quality glue gun. So I use mini glue guns because whatever. But now I'm like ready to invest in a really good one. Hey, Amber.
Hi.
Yeah, one where you can adjust the temperature is super helpful because different materials, some of them will melt, but some of them will get a better hold if you do it hot. And
Yeah,
so
definitely
one glue gun where you just have a dial and you change high temp to low temp. But also pay attention to your glue sticks and make sure they're like switch glue sticks if you're going to be switching the temperatures. Otherwise, it'll be like, yeah. So,
Amber, how are you?
Why don't we have Amber introduce yourself?
No.
Oh no!
You sound like a mouse again.
It's a mouse.
She'll be back.
Amber will be back. It's fine.
So I wanted to mention. Oh my god, I wanted to mention something and I can't remember what it is anymore. Oh crap!
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Glues.
I'm excited about glues, guys. I'm sorry.
I remember.
That's my love.
I remember what I was gonna say. So like when I started like getting more into crafting and stuff, and like they would use this term PVA glue, and I'm like, what is that? It's freaking Elmer's glue. Like, do you remember when you were in school and you would glue like, you know, macaroni to the paper, and then you're a kid, you're like, I want to eat this macaroni, and you take it off, but it won't come off? That glue is like heavy duty, and I never even realized that PVA glue, like Mod Podge is like a watered down PVA glue. That stuff actually is really, really good. Like wood glue is a version of PVA glue. I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised. It really is.
I have the spray version.
It's amazing. So a lot of times, if you're not sure, like you could always try PVA glue. Start with that, and then you know it washes off things if it doesn't stick. So yeah.
Let's see if Amber's still a mouse.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hey!
Oh, thank God. It's every time. And I used to have to do this when I was Twitch streaming too. Like 50% of the time, the first time I accessed the stream, I'd sound like, we called it dolphining. And then leaving and restarting would fix it. But like,
it's cute.
I have no idea. No idea.
So Todd says, Amber's back. Matthew, literally watching the Ragnarok. Yes, Sam. Hi, my friends. Hi, Matthew. Thanks for joining. So, okay, Amber, since you're here now, do you want to go ahead and do your quick introduction?
Huh? Okay. Hi, guys. I'm the tardy one this week because of glue problems, actually. The fun thing of it. I'm Amber Brite. I'm a prop maker here in Phoenix, Arizona. I've been cosplaying for about 5 years. I love glues, especially because glues means I can usually bypass sewing. Is a big plus in my book. So I do a lot with body paint and prosthetics and all sorts of fun stuff like that.
She's the glue expert. Yes.
Thank you for joining us. Yay! So we were just we had some questions since we were just talking about different adhesives. We've been talking about the This to That website, and
that is such a nice website. I love that website.
Oh, it's amazing. It helps so much. Although I haven't seen some of the newer glues on there, but that's okay. Like Silpoxy isn't on there, and I love Silpoxy now.
And it's hard because some of the glues are regional as well. Like you see this a lot with Barge. There are like 3 different formulations of Barge. There's the yellow can, the blue can, and the green can. And all of them do slightly different things. And a lot of them are regionally owned. Like you can only find them in certain areas. Like I know my friends in the UK can't ever find the yellow can because the yellow can has toluene in it. And toluene is a carcinogen. So
Yay,
you know,
America.
yeah. America's like, it's fine, get cancer, we don't care.
I can't even find barge at any of the places I go to here
I've never
in
used
Arizona.
it.
So I have to use, that's why I use weldwood, but I have no problems with weldwood.
Yeah.
I've had no problems with the weldwood contact cement. I do find that you have to use a little bit more of it, but that's okay. Like, I don't mind having to apply a little bit thicker of a paste to it. That's fine. So
I order my barge by the large.
yeah,
by
I order the I keep this and I just keep refilling it. I just keep refilling the baby one.
See, I don't use enough to like. I get that big can from Home Depot, and I don't use enough that I actually had to replace it because it eventually dried because I don't use it enough.
See, when conventions were active, I was using 2 of those cans a year.
You can find the smaller barge tubes at certain Ace Hardware. There's an Ace Hardware in Central Phoenix, and then an Ace Hardware.
Harbor Freight does, yeah.
I've also never found it at Harbor Freight, and I've looked, so it might be individual Harbor Freight. So
the one at Tempe has it, so
I should go. I should get those from now on instead of the big jar.
It could also be like you said, though. It could be like time of year. It could be regional. It could be like shipping. Could be someone happened to have access. So like, if you can't find it, like literally do that Google search of who sells this where, and then find it closest to you.
Yeah, definitely. So a couple comments here. Oh, Raul says hi. Matthew says 8 years, but who's counting? Yeah. Joel, hi Thermo, and Sean says hi, ladies. Thanks for joining in. I want to go back to super glue we talked about because that's one of my I always have to have super glue on hand because it almost works all the time. And this is my favorite super glue. This one, obviously, those traditional tubes, they tend to dry out. They get hard. And this one has never dried out on me. Although, funny story, the very first bottle I bought, I was like, what the hell? It's not working. What the hell? And I didn't know that you're supposed to twist the top to break the seal. So for the longest time, it just sat there until I figured it out because I bought another one. And I'm like, this one's not working. I was like, oh. So this is what I like to use is the Loctite.
So there's actually a couple of different types of super glue, and they're all marketed as super glue. Your regular super glue is a different formula than Loctite. Loctite is specifically what's called CA glue, and it's like acetyl blah blah sort of glue. But yeah, Loctite specifically is a specific type of super glue formula. And it actually is one of the few glues that you can use to glue things to silicone.
Because it has silicone inside of it.
And the great thing is this is a gel control, so it's not like the slippy liquid. And then these little squeeze sides, things on the side is how you distribute it. So I like it. I find it really good it is gel control, very controlled for my small little projects that I need them for. So
I've used the Gorilla Glue Super Glue, the brush nozzle, which is gel controlled on silicone, and that works as long as you give it about an hour to settle. Because this is the yellow cap is the only one that has the same. It's a very similar formula to Loctite. But again, we talk about cap colors. The yellow cap of Gorilla Glue is the only one that has a silicone additive in it, so you can adhere to silicone. Everything else for Gorilla Glue won't work. So. That's why I actually invested in Silpoxy because I wanted something that I knew would have a really sure hold.
Yep. And the Loctite, when you glue it, it does, all super glues, when you glue them, they do become brittle and hard. Whereas Silpoxy, when it hardens, it remains flexible. So a lot of knowing what glue is going to be successful for your project is knowing kind of what is this going to be used for. So like we mentioned hot glue is not great for points of a lot of tension or a lot of flexion because as it flexes, it breaks the hot glue down. So it's great for holding on details, but you don't want to put it somewhere. Like you don't want to use it to secure 2 pieces to each other if those pieces are going to be flexing.
You know what I use this for, and really, and now that you mentioned that, it's not so flexible, but I use it for small points when I'm sewing. And if there's a thread that's broke or something that will undo things, I just glue it. I just glue the end. I'm like, I'm not redoing this, So I actually use this a lot. I just did my Jasmine where I hand sewed 1 billion things to it. And anytime I had to like cut or do something, and I was like, well, either I undo this completely so that it's
Awkward.
secured,
Awkward. You
or
need
yeah, I use this as I just like it. To
I
be, like,
have
strong
Fabri-Tac too. I have Fabri-Tac and I use the tacky glue. If I'm really concerned about how long it's going to last, I use the tacky glue and I let it set for 24 hours. But Fabri-Tac is perfect because like within like an hour or two, it's like, hi.
Yeah. But this I use for like loose ends, and you know how like if you bead something, like sometimes the bead gets loose or the thread gets loose, and so the beads start coming off. I use that. I use this because I'm like, nope. Use that one.
It's literally what it's made for.
I know, but
I'm sure the super glue works, but if you I find that with super glue it makes like a crunchy residue sometimes.
Yeah.
And
super flexible. Yeah.
But
that's
see, when I'm doing like
every time it's super flexible.
Yeah, but when I'm gluing like beads and stuff and very small like points, that's why I like to use this. If it was bigger, I would use fabric glue, like a bigger space.
Well, it also has the Fabri-Tac has a fine point applicator that you can attach to the top, which is super awesome.
Yeah.
Or you can do like me and buy toothpicks and just dip the toothpicks and use those.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just feel like this is a stronger hold. I don't know.
there's as you can see, there's lots of different ways to use adhesives for like fabric and props. And so if you have a specific question, please let us know, because we've talked a lot about like, okay, this is metal, this is glass, this is foam, this is fabric, we've kind of gone through a lot of like the prop and clothing adhesives. And I know that during this, we also wanted to kind of mention the skin adhesives. So I also have like things brought up here to talk about skin adhesives and how those vary. So one of those things. So Amber, how is that glued to your body? What did you use?
Not very securely right now, which is why I'm late. But so when you are gluing things to your body, use things that are meant to be used on your body, please. Like I hear horror stories all the time about, well, I have one exception to that, but I hear horror stories all the time about people who are like, I just like hot glued it on, or I like duct taped it to myself.
To their body?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I had someone who had like hot glued and she's like, I used the low temp glue. It's fine. And I'm like,
don't do that.
But my favorite adhesive that I use kind of for almost everything is Prosaid. I have my little Prosaid cream. Unfortunately, I couldn't find my Prosaid bottle. But it's a skin adhesive.
I didn't do that.
You just want that one with the red label on it. But it's a skin safe adhesive. I use it if I'm doing gems, if I'm doing little details on the face, if I'm using prosthetics, if I'm gluing my horns on. Prosaid is just kind of like my go-to. And it's strong enough that like for the vast majority of uses, it'll hold all day long. All day long. For this getup specifically, I'm using a silicone bra that's glued on. It has stuff glued onto it. And I have been using Skin Tight, which is a specific adhesive for silicone prosthetics, because Prosaid doesn't really hold silicone prosthetics. So those are kind of like my two that I use. And then I don't think I grabbed it, but that purple Elmer's glue stick is my other go-to for actually gluing down lace front wigs.
Yeah.
And then like little tiny details. I use the purple Elmer's glue stick.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna see if I can find the purple Elmer's glue stick. Here we go. There you go.
Yeah, this is the only thing that I use on my skin that's not specifically meant to be on your skin. But it's nice because Elmer's has done, that one specifically. And it goes on purple and then it dries clear, which is really nice.
And it's water soluble, and they make it for kids to mess with too. So it's pretty safe.
It's gone through a lot of like testing to make sure it's non-toxic and stuff. But this is what I use a lot of times for this part right here on my wig. You can see it's not coming up, and that's because I glued it down. I almost always glue down this part of my
Yeah,
wig.
I'll use the Got to Be Glued gel to keep edges of wigs down too, because you just put it down and you use a little bit of a blow dryer and it just kind of settles. But yeah,
I
no,
like
these are
the glue stick because it's so easy to wash out. Like literally, I can just rinse this part of my wig and it doesn't get like gummed up or anything.
And I saw someone ask about tooth glue. So tooth glue is very, very limited. It's honestly, I would highly recommend just doing Dentemp, or something that your dentist. First, you need to check with your dentist and make sure you can use it. Like, I don't have a lot of real teeth in my mouth because I've had a lot of dental procedures and I've had a lot of issues health-wise with my mouth growing up. So first, ask your dentist if you can use adhesives, because if you do and you're not supposed to, you can pull out your own dental work. But you'll want to do something that's approved, like Dentemp, Recap It, something that is approved for in your mouth, and you'll find it like Dentifix, things that are in an aisle that have been approved for use inside your mouth. Please don't use super glue. I've seen people think it's safe, and legit someone lost like one of their front teeth because they had like super glued one of those fake rubber things and they couldn't peel off the rust. It was
This is one of those things that
stories. I was like, what?
Yeah, this is one of those things that drives me insane is people are like, oh, but it's non-toxic. The words non-toxic on a label indicate that if you use it exactly as it's intended to be used, it will not cause toxicity. So like we see this in body paint all the time where people are like, oh, I use non-toxic acrylic paint. No, it's non-toxic for you to sit there and paint it on the canvas. It's not made to go on your skin. They haven't tested to see if it absorbs into your skin or anything like that. So yes, something might say non-toxic, but that doesn't mean it's non-toxic in all uses. Like, doesn't mean eat it and put it in your body.
So we have another question from Todd asking, would you recommend shaving an area before gluing? You can. I don't shave my face at all because I have really fine baby hairs, and I've seen some people do that and all of a sudden dark hair grows on their face, and I'm like, I don't want that to happen. So I use, instead of primer, I use like a hydrating primer. I let it settle for 15 minutes and then I use the glue, and the primer basically helps the glue work, but also helps it makes it easier for me to remove it later on. And not in the primer, what it does is it packs down your hair so that it's not standing up or potentially becoming a problem when you're using the adhesive.
I think it depends on the area, how long you're going to wear the prosthetic, and how much hair there is.
If
like,
it's a lot of hair, like your arm, like you're putting something on your armpit or your legs.
Yeah, the Band-Aid test. Which how much do you cry if you take a Band-Aid off that area?
Yeah. But most adhesives, if you use an oil, like coconut oil or some kind of something that'll oversaturate the skin and you let it settle, you can usually wipe it off after you've allowed it to settle for a period of time. That's why a lot of us who do body makeup, we have a lot of coconut oil because we let it rub into our skin, walk away, 20 minutes later, come back, and everything just kind of comes right off. So.
And when it specifically comes to like facial hair and stuff like that, you can, to go back to my favorite, you can use the glue stick to create a fake smoothness that will then come off. But I find that doesn't work usually all day for conventions. That's really I have a photo shoot or I want to wear this for 2 to 4 hours. If you're sweating a lot, if it's an area of high tension, like it's going to weaken and come apart. But for like I need to put the horns here and I have a beard here, you can layer the glue stick here, then put it on top of that, and it will hold for 2 to 4-ish hours.
Yeah. Basically, just think about the fact that the purple glue stick is water soluble and your sweat is water. So the more you sweat, it would be funny if you were supposed to look like stuff sliding off your body. If you wanted to put it all on in the day and slowly look like you're melting, cool. But if that's not your goal, then bring stuff with you to reapply.
Yeah. I almost always, if I have, okay, So speaking from experience with this specific costume, if you have a costume that is dependent on glue, especially if it's like a prosthetic or something like that, A, bring the prosthetic with you, and B, have a plan B. What happens when these 2 giant horns on my forehead fall off? Are you going to take off your makeup? Are you going to try and get it back on? Are you going to, just paint over that area and just be like red or whatever? I specifically had this outfit on, and literally the top is just glued on. There's nothing underneath the top. And then my dumbass decided to walk around in 110-degree heat at Sabaton, and my top fell off. Thankfully, we had a spare t-shirt, and then I was just Ivy wearing a t-shirt. So
I mean, it's cool. It's the new thing.
fail for me there.
So that's a word of advice. If you're wearing a character that's just wearing a stick-on bra, bring a tube top.
Have a plan B.
Or a bra, like one of the bras that's strapless that you can just throw on real fast, make a strapless bra so that if something goes wrong, you can throw on your strapless bra and you're ready. But that happens with just about anything.
Yep.
I mean, even in cool weather environments, you could get exposed to something that could deactivate the adhesive. You don't know what to expect, so just expect the unexpected and pack extra stuff. But other than Prostaid, you can also use, if you don't have a latex allergy, you can use stuff like spirit gum or liquid latex to adhere stuff to your body. This is weird. I can't have latex from my clavicle up. It's no problem on the rest of my body, but from my clavicle up, I get hives and I react horrifically. So test when you're going to be using an adhesive. Normally we say with paints, you want to test the underside of your arm. With adhesives, every point in your body, do a dot somewhere and see how it reacts, because I did not expect to react from the clavicle up. That was weird. But then again, bodies are weird, and so you don't know what's going to happen.
I like it sounds like that was weird.
And spirit glue allergies are pretty common. That's the stuff that you tend to see when you go to like the Halloween store and they have like the prosthetics you can do just for Halloween. That's like the really generic. So if you've ever tried to put that on and you broke out, like it's extremely common. Whereas Prostaid is specifically like made for, the reason it's called Prostaid is because it was made for medical prosthetics. So it's developed to be more gentle and more likely to be good on the skin.
I'm sure there's someone out there that has a Prostaid allergy. I have never met anyone.
Sure.
Yeah, so I just actually, I was using the official Prostaid before, and I had to get more. So I actually got the Ben Nye version. So I don't know how good this is compared to the, official Prostaid, but I'm pretty sure it's similar. I don't do any kind of like heavy duty stuff like Amber or Sam does.
In my experience, that one's between spirit glue and Prostaid.
That's what I thought. I was like, I don't need anything so heavy duty because the Prostaid was amazing. Obviously, it's more expensive. So for me, as a casual prosthetic user, I think this will be okay. I just bought it. I haven't tried it, and then I also got the remover as well.
Ben Nye's stuff is very like it's
middle range.
Yeah, it's cheaper, but it's still fairly effective.
Yeah. So for casual, I think for casual, prosthetic people like me, it's good. I would not. I'm sure Amber would not use that on her boobs because they would just like, blip. Yeah. So if you're covering boobs, don't use them. Use something better.
Yep.
Yay.
So
thank God for spare t-shirts. That's all I got.
And I mean, I still love this too. Like,
oh my God, that's ridiculous.
I want to wear Zangief more frequently, but of literally all of the cosplays I have, that one is the most uncomfortable. And it is the most uncomfortable because the hair bra itches and facial hair is the worst thing I have ever experienced in my entire life. Guys, I don't know how you do it. It was just constantly like touching me. And then when I would turn my head, it would like touch my neck. And I was just like, stop touching me. Like,
I should do like a Vega, like a Rule 63 Vega, and let's do a shoot together.
You should. Oh my God, that would make me so happy.
That'd be so cool. With a mask and Vega, I always thought was cool. So
that
in the works now.
Is actually the facial hair is all held on with Prostaid. and so is the bra. So that one is another fully glued on using Prosaid, which
Glue cosplay.
I have several of those now.
So Todd says you get used to it. What? I hate no.
Oh my god! Like pulling it off though. At the end of the day, I was like, freedom!
Oh my god!
I was like,
so you want to hear a funny story, and this is totally has unrelated to anything. Because I hate when my husband has facial hair. So one day he shaved, and then he was laying in bed, and he was like, "God, it's so itchy, it's so itchy." And I said, "Okay, I have this papaya cream. Let me, put it on your face." So put it on his face, and then we went to sleep. And then the next morning, he's like, I'm like, "What happened?" He's like, "Okay, so I woke up in the middle of the night, and my face was really itchy." So I grabbed the pot next to the bed and I put it on my face. And then I was like, this is getting really hot. What is it? And so he looked at it and it was CBD hot muscle cream. And he put it all over his face. And I'm like, look at these jars. Like the moisture jar was huge. And the muscle, like the CBD cream was like this big. And he's like, oh, I had to wash my face. Oh my God, I was wiping all. I was like, oh my God. Okay, sorry. Side story.
Well,
I need to just tell somebody.
Well, and I wanted to talk about like one other skin adhesive that like is super simple, is literally available freaking everywhere. Eyelash glue.
Oh, look, that's me.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Eyelash
God.
glue. So in a pinch,
Yep.
eyelash glue will use. Now there's different kinds. There is an eyelash glue that's silicone based and eyelash glue that's latex based. I use the silicone based just because I know I cannot react well to latex. So make sure you check the back. But the fact that it's so inexpensive, readily available, it comes in black and clear, and you can pretty much
put it anywhere in your body.
Yeah.
And you can put it anywhere in your body. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, if it's eye safe, typically it's safe for the rest of your face. Now again, check the back, please. But most of them will say it's skin safe completely, because I've used eyelash glue in a pinch to glue on Zabrak horns.
Yep. Now that you brought up eyelash glue, let me talk about it a little bit, because a lot of people don't know how to use it. It's similar to like contact cement. You have to let it get tacky. So when you put it on whatever it is, you don't need to put it on two surfaces. It's not like that. It's just one surface, but you can't put it on. Some people do. They say, hey, it works for me because then I can move it around until it dries. So maybe you need to figure out what works for you. But typically you're supposed to wait for it to get tacky onto the surface, and then you can apply it to your skin. So it's kind of like,
wait until it doesn't look as shiny.
Yep.
Now this one that I discovered from Duo is a new one. It's like a 30-second, like dries in 30 seconds, gets tacky, and it stays on forever. I've never had this one fall off. I'll try and find the link, but I swear by this eyelash glue now. You just put it on your eyelashes, you wait even less than 30 seconds and pop it on, and it stays forever.
I use the magnetic ones now. So what it is it's actually an eyeliner that has silicone and metal fragments, like metal powder mixed into it. And
I'm
so
looking for one too.
It's kind of an adhesive because they want the eyeliner to stay on you longer. So it's not like normal eyeliner where if you smudge it, it smudges. Once this stuff is set, it's set. It will not come off. So it is technically an adhesive eyeliner, basically. But it has the metal powder in it. So when you put a magnetized eyelash on, it does not come off. And I have had no problems with the like eye fusion ones I use, and that's really useful. Just you need to make sure a lot of the times with eyelash glue, again, try really, really hard not to get any air inside of it, because that stuff it cures when it's exposed to oxygen. So be careful.
Yeah,
I'm actually wearing the magnetic eyelashes today. It was my first experience with them, and I have to say it was really nice just putting them up, and they were like bam on my eyes. I was like, oh.
And the great thing is you can reposition, because if you're like, oh wait, that's a little far over, you just pull it and everything's still there, and you're like, okay, put it back.
So Jessica says she uses Glamnetics, which I want to look into. I actually used a cheap version on Amazon. I don't recommend. The liner wasn't waterproof, and then once you remove it, the liner removes with the magnet. So there really is. Some people say that they're all the same, but they're not. So I'm looking into a different kind as well. But I also get extensions sometimes. So, but magnetic ones are great if you're not like I can pop mine right on with glue. I'm so used to it that it's like on and it's done.
I use Lamora. So I've used Lamora, and they're the one that has, I believe that's the one, I'll have to double check, but I think that was the one that I had like the silicone and not the latex, because I haven't had any reactions to it.
So I'm just going to show this. This is the one that I swear by. It has this little easy applicator, literally a quick set. Like I said, literally you put it on in I said 30 seconds. It's probably way less. You put it on, you pop it on, it stays on forever. I've never had to reapply. So if you want to stick to glue, this is my favorite, and I think is the most effective one. So again, that's Duo Quick Set Strip Lash Adhesive.
So we're coming into like the last 10 minutes. We can go a little bit over today, but if you guys have any questions on adhesives, whether it's body adhesive or it's a prop adhesive, please start posting those now so that we can get to them. I was going to share some photos of, I know, things that we've used adhesives on. So like I have, let me pull this up. Oh gosh, my screen was like, I don't want to share anything. I'm like, hey, come back. But like when I did my thing Credos, I used Skin Tight, which is a silicone 2-part adhesive. And I did have to use a little bit of Photoshop to smooth this out because I got to tell you guys, I was still learning. But in general, you use it to smooth out your skin. And now that I know how to use it, I can get it this smooth. You have to use really good applicators and smoothers, and you just have to keep building up layers and smoothing it down into your own skin until like it looks like there's nothing there.
It really is multiple layers. Like people who are like, oh, I couldn't get it smooth. Either your lip is too big and you're never going to get it smooth, or you just haven't done enough layers. Like,
and I at that point hadn't done enough layers, but I was learning. Like that was the first time I ever used silicone. So don't be afraid to experiment, because there is definitely a learning curve when it comes to this stuff. And I know that like when you did your Darth Talon the first time, I think you did like what, a cabo patch for the.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was Prosade with a Urafil stuff.
Yeah. So let me.
And that took like friggin' an hour just to blend this part right here. Like,
it's insane.
Yeah.
Photoshop is your friend.
Yeah.
A couple of questions here. Jessica says, oh shoot, that's my problem. I can never get it to dry quick enough for me. If you're talking about like the lash glue, just blow on it. It should get tacky in like 30 seconds to a minute. Usually what I used to do with the older version is I would just put the glue on, I would set it down, do something else in my makeup, and then take it back and then put it on my eyes. So that's if you're using the traditional stuff. Sarah says, do you buy magnetic eyelashes online, or would they be available at like Ulta or another makeup store? So just like anything, there's different brands, with different levels of quality. Glamnetic is one I think you can only buy online. And I know that one has really good reviews. That's kind of the one that I'm leaning towards. As far as eyelashes in general, you have like Ardell and some, Kiss and some other ones. I love Eylure, and Eylure has come out with a magnetic liner version. I haven't tried it yet, but in terms of traditional eyelashes, I love Eylure. Their bands are thick and they're easy to reuse, and they always look nice and full. So maybe check reviews on some of the ones you can buy in stores, because I'm sure that there are some that are just as good as Glamnetic that you buy online.
I bought my magnetic lashes at Target. So
yeah,
I don't remember which kind. I think I have the Kiss kind.
Mm-hmm.
But
what are you looking for, Sam?
Because your eyelashes are dope.
I am so big on like eyelashes all the time, always eyelashes, because I think
look at her Umi.
Yeah. Especially for like opening like Asian eyes, because I tend to have smaller eyes. My eyelashes, I feel like eyelashes open your eyes a lot more. So I love Eylure. Like I said, they're more on the expensive side, but traditional glue-on ones, they last a lot longer because they have a thicker band. And always eyelashes. Unless you're a character that's not so girly, then okay, that's fine. Like Totoro.
And even then, I would still, if you are trying to get photos, I would do lighter eyelashes.
Absolutely.
One of the big things that I find for beginner cosplayers who are just doing photo shoots and stuff like that, they tend to not go heavy enough with the accents for photo shoots.
Yeah.
And what I mean is, I don't care what gender you are, wear eyeliner, eyelashes, make sure your brows are filled in, contour a little bit, use lip color.
Yeah.
Because
it'll never translate exactly in person pictures.
And I see it so many times where these beginning cosplayers have these gorgeous outfits, and then like in photos, their face is just flat. Like that's part of your costume too. And I mean, you don't have to. If you don't want to, like, don't wear makeup. Like, this isn't like, you're not failing at cosplay if you don't. But if you're looking at your photos and you're like, why am I not going to this next level? A lot of times it's that small, do makeup,
Absolutely.
do make sure that you add the contour and the color to your face because the camera will take it out.
I mean, it's just like everything else in cosplay, right? The details that you add on your costume, you
Mhm.
know, even your wig, if you're styling your wig,
Yep.
maybe even like, so why wouldn't you take your face to that level as well?
Yeah.
Because, you know, we're trying to also kind of look like fictional characters. So
Yeah.
you don't, you know, the less human you look, but again, like Amber said, it's your choice. I know people don't like to wear makeup because it's bad on their skin. So don't feel pressure to, but she's right. If you know, the cosplay photography is the important part for you, then that's something you definitely want to start looking into.
And I pulled this up for a reason because we've talked a lot about it, skin adhesive. There is another cosplay adhesive that we didn't mention earlier when we were talking about props and fabric, and it's CosBond. This entire bathing suit, except for the waistband, is put together with CosBond. So, like, I wore a whole bathing suit and I swam in it, and it stayed together. So there are
CosBond is not a skin adhesive. CosBond is a fabric and foam.
fabric adhesive, fabric, foam,
Clarify.
anything. Yeah. And it
Now,
works really well.
Since you've mentioned that, and we're kind of closing up here, we didn't mention skin tape, which I think is probably really important to touch on because people talk about it a lot as well, especially when you're wearing something that kind of flows, or maybe you want to cover up, you know, certain areas. Skin tape, like the Hollywood
I used skin tape for this so my boobs wouldn't fall out.
Yeah,
I use it on Melina.
Yeah,
and
in place.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's always good too. The problem is with that is obviously if you sweat a lot, it can be a problem. That's just life. So
yeah. When you're wearing anything, just be aware of the idea that stuff could fall off, so you may need to bring more with you.
Yeah, that skin is not supposed to be a permanent like fixture. You know, anything on your skin should not be permanently fixed. So of course, anything that you do use.
I am glued, and actually, I don't use skin tape. I use Prosaid because, again, I use Prosaid for everything. But my Melina along the edges so that it doesn't slip or anything like that, that's fully glued in.
Yeah. So don't forget that too. This is probably a bad suggestion, but carpet tape sometimes works. Because obviously that's supposed to keep in place. But again, that's not for your body. So
yeah.
So you can, yes, Jessica, you can glue a whole outfit together with CosBond. I have used it. It's working on swimming. Make sure you test the fabric. There are some fabrics that they will require additional reinforcement. So you might have to use the CosBond adhesive and the reinforcer. But so far, I've had absolutely no problems with it. And I machined the washed that outfit and it came out just fine. I did let it cure though for like, it doesn't need to cure, but I did let it set for 24 hours before I wore it.
Yeah, just be aware that like fabrics, obviously that have like pills or anything like that, that come off is going to be a little harder to attach. Because obviously you want to have a more secure bond like this. If I tried to maybe glue these together, it might not be as secure because they can like.
Well, and like when I did my Tamatoa, I had a little bit more trouble because I used like this sheer fabric. I think this is the right one. Oh no, but it's your Melina again. It's fine.
Let's see it.
I'll find it.
I do like my Melina.
I think it was a chiffon, and I used this really sheer fabric over the top of foam that I had painted, and then I did a reinforcer in the back, and then the CosBond because it wouldn't stay to the chiffon. And then I have an athletic neoprene underneath that I struggled with. So I've learned now that neoprene and CosBond don't get along. So you will definitely have to sew onto neoprene. But just about anything else, if you use the reinforcer first and then the adhesive, it typically creates a new bond that the CosBond will work on, and you have pretty much no problem. So just test the fabric out, stretch it, use it, see where it's going to be. Please test wearing it before you wear it somewhere. But I literally was using it on spandex and like a cotton stretch, and it worked really well. It just seems to be neoprene and chiffon require a bit more extra treatment. So as with any adhesive, you need to test it and see whether or not it's going to work for the project that you have.
So a couple questions here. Raul says, I never thought about that before. Yeah, your face is part of it too. Gotcha. Like Amber said, doesn't matter your gender, sex. Like it's, I mean, our face becomes so flat when there's lights flashing on it. If you don't want to do so much as beauty makeup and just more of like maybe contours, I think at minimum, you should have some concealer for redness, powder to make yourself less shiny, some contours because we lose some of these angles sometimes in light.
Powder is good for adhesive in general because adhesive does come off a little shiny after it's set. So it is nice to just.
Yeah, so definitely a translucent powder. You can find them anywhere in any kind of brand, any price point. Maybe some eye, depending on how your eyes are set, some eyeliner, maybe some mascara. I think at minimum.
You can do, if you're a guy and you don't want to do the whole made up look, you can get brown pencil eyeliner and get a nice diffuse look to your eyes that'll still help them pop in the photos. So you don't have to go like, you know, full like Hook from Once Upon a Time, though.
But a lot of times, especially like if you're lighter haired and you're fairer, your eyelashes disappear, your eyebrows disappear. So those are things that you want to keep, you know, in mind. And you're gonna realize, wow, I should have been doing this a long time ago. My pictures look so much better.
Yeah, like so today for this, I didn't do anything with my eyebrows because I wanted it to look like it was gray and fading out. I usually have to fill in my eyebrows because they're starting to like disappear. And for a character like this, it works really well. But other characters most characters in anime and games and movies have very pronounced eyebrows to exaggerate their expressions. So you'll really want to pay attention to that.
Even as you can see,
adhesive over it. If you've done like the purple eye stick, if you've done the purple glue over it and you've made them disappear, you better make sure you draw those real nice and people can see them.
Yeah, because I'm not wearing any makeup today, and you can see my eyes seem a little smaller. So eyelashes are one thing that can, you know, really open that up. Even for like I said, males, or you know, you can just put some mascara on your eyelashes if you don't want to make it look all crazy. Then that'll at least add some depth.
Yeah, and Todd, I feel you. I have horrible luck with makeup also. For whatever reason, my face is allergic to like half of everything. And so I've never been very good at makeup, again, because practice makes perfect, and I almost never practice because it tends to irritate my skin. So for me now, I have kind of a unique complexion. Naturally, I am very, very red. So rather than being washed out when I'm in a cosplay, and it's funny because like I take pictures of myself in normal clothes and I'm totally happy with how I look without makeup. But if I take a picture of myself in a cosplay, I'm a tomato. It's just, it's horrifying. And I think it's because it's everything so exaggerated in cosplay. So even if you're not familiar with, you know, how to use it and all that kind of stuff, if you're sweating a lot, I see your comment there, because I'm definitely can be a face sweater too. Look into just putting on a base concealer. I went to my local Walgreens or other places that have like a beauty counter and just said, hey, my face reacts to a lot of things. I just want something like, can you please help me? I don't know what my skin tone is. I don't know what my toner is. And I was able to find somebody that was able to help me match my skin tone. A lot of times a BB cream or a CC cream is meant to blend in with your skin tone. So you don't have to know that like, I'm a 546X pale, whatever the heck those numbers are.
You can also do that like Ulta too. They're happy to help.
Yeah, and a liquid one
will definitely help you out.
A liquid one, letting it set, and then they have oh my gosh, why am I forgetting this? The thing we always finish with.
Makeup.
What's that spray?
Setting spray.
Setting spray. Yeah, so putting on a toner, just like one flat across your entire face, and then putting a toning spray on top of that to let it set. Even when you're sweating, we'll just kind of hold it and let it stay. So you don't have to know how to contour and everything. You can just make yourself a canvas. Yeah, see, I don't do a lot with my face necessarily. I mean, I put on some lipstick, but I just whoop. So at least my face isn't a tomato.
so Todd, like this is obviously common with a lot of men because you know they're not used to wearing makeup every day. But of course nowadays it's a lot more acceptable for men to wear makeup, which is great because everybody should be able to wear makeup. So if you go to places like Sephora or Ulta that are makeup focused, ask them to help you. They're so happy to help you. They'll give you the tips. Tell them what you want. Hey, I take pictures, you know, how do I, whatever, and they'll tell you exactly what to do. So avoid Target and Walmart for now. Go get some advice from the professional, and then you can find your products wherever you want. So.
Yeah, and if Sephora's telling you 5,000 things, I don't know why, but I've always had really good luck at Walgreens because they understand sometimes, like, hey, I just want one thing because I hardly ever use this. And again, a BB cream or a CC cream that's like close-ish to your skin tones, those are specifically made to blend in with your skin tone, so you don't have to match it exactly.
Yeah, just sometimes they don't have quite good like experts there. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
true. Yeah, it really depends on which one you go to.
Yeah, and a lot of times if it's woman to woman, they already know. You know what I mean? Like, so just be aware. Yeah. All right. Any last questions, guys? Because we're a little bit over now, but we'll take any last questions. I know this is a very difficult topic because there's so much to know and talk about.
There's a lot of heat, a lot of adhesives.
Yeah. So, and then if you have questions afterwards that we ended our broadcast, just send us a message and we can, always get back to you.
Yeah.
As well as I know we talked a lot about makeup. We do have a makeup stream that we've done in the past, and I'm sure we'll do more, especially if you want to focus on specific like gender looks. We can do that as well.
We could do one live too, where we could just put on some makeup and the others could talk through what the individual's doing.
Yeah, so we can do demonstrations as well if you want to look more masculine or feminine or however. There's different ways to do them, especially if you have different face types. Like as you can see between me and Amber, Amber's got a very like angular face, and I have a very round face. So if I wanted to look like Amber, I would have to do some different contouring. So there's ways to do it too.
And I actually do very minimal contouring, especially right here, because you can see, like just the natural shadows give me such a narrow face. Yeah. And it's very hard for me to look round.
I almost always put these here when I want to look a little more grown up because my face is always so like, I got big cheeks. All right. Okay, so I think we're good. Guys, that was so much information. And let's go around and see where we can find everybody. So, Lena,
you can find. Let me see if I can. See, I do. I have been trying to put myself out there in social media because everybody's like, I want to tag you, and I'm like, that's not why I do cosplay. But sure, I appreciate the love. The best way to see me, my cosplay, or to tag me, even so that I would see it, is actually tagging ThermoCosplay. That's like mainly what I roll out of. But I have, if you want to tag me and Sam separately, I have made a Thermo sidekick. It's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and I'll add more social medias as I figure them out if they're cosplay friendly and people want to see me there. But most of my cosplay, you're not going to find much of my cosplay or anything. You want to go to thermocosplay.com or our Facebook page or Instagram page. That's where you'll see most of my stuff.
And Amber?
I am on just about every social media. I just made my TikTok debut, so that was fun. I'm like, I am so old. I don't know what's going on.
I still struggle with TikTok.
Yeah, like my TikToks, I've got one at like 300, one at 8,000, and I'm just like, I don't know.
What even is this?
But I'm AmberBriteProps.com is my website. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I think there's a couple more. I have a Patreon if you want to see some of the spicier stuff I do or support me. Yeah, TikTok now to see me act like a fool.
And reels on Instagram, I see. Yeah. And Sam?
Just like Lena said, so thermocosplay.com, and that's really where you're going to find everything. You're going to find all of our tutorials, our portfolio. Events is just basically CosTalk Live and our streams that we do weekly now. And so all of the information that you need, you'll find here. So.
Yay. And I am Jinx. I have a website, jinxcosplay.com, but all my social media is at the Jinx Cosplay on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. I'm going to start streaming again, and TikTok. But yeah, again, I'm too old for TikTok. And then as far as CosTalk Live, guys, we stream every Sunday, 12 p.m. As of next week, it will be 12 p.m. Pacific because of, I don't know, on the 14th. It changes on the 14th. So
yep, we're going to be the same as Pacific time.
Okay, so 12 p.m. Pacific during daylight savings time. And we stream on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. So if you like us, guys, support us on all platforms. It would be so great. Share with your friends. Join us. If you have ideas for subjects, we're all ears. If you have guest suggestions, we're all ears. We'd love to hear what you guys think. And yeah, anytime, reach out. What's this you like to hear?
All ears.
We're all ears, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. And be safe, guys. Bye.
Bye, everybody.